Welcome to the new book releases for the week of May the 20th. Sci-fi is going to be our big one this week, and there will still be timestamps for every genre, so you can click to whichever your favorite if this is your first time here. I'm Morgan, and I hope you find a new book to grab today. Let's go ahead and get started. Oh, and things will be mispronounced. We're going to start the week with our fantasy book because it's one of my anticipated releases. I really want to get to it. No idea when I will, though. How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying by Django Wexler. Davy has done this all before. She's tried to be the hero and take down the all-powerful Dark Lord. 100 times she's rallied humanity and made the final charge, but the time loop always gets her in the end. Sometimes she's killed quickly, sometimes it takes a while, but she's been defeated every time. This time, she's done being the hero and done being stuck in this endless time loop. If the Dark Lord always wins, then maybe that's who she needs to be. It's Davy's turn to play on the winning side. Another anticipated release is starting our sci-fi list. This is Lost Ark Dreaming by Soyi Davis Okunbawa. Off the coast of West Africa, decades after the dangerous rise of the Atlantic Ocean, the region's survivors live in 5 partially submerged, kilometers-high towers originally created as a playground for the wealthy. Now the tower's most affluent rule from their lofty perch at the top, while the rest are cramped into the dark, fetid floors below sea level. There are also those who were left for dead in the Atlantic only to be reawakened by an ancient power and who seek vengeance on those who offered them up to the waves. Next up is In Our Stars by Jack Campbell. I believe this is the start of a new series called The Doomed Earth? Maybe. It takes place Earth 2180. Genetically engineered with partially alien DNA, Lieutenant Celine Genji is different from ordinary humans, and they hate her for it. Still, she spent her life trying to overcome society's prejudice by serving in the United Fleet while Earth's international order collapses into war. Genji is stationed on a ship in orbit when humanity's factional extremism on the planet reaches a boiling point, and she witnesses the utter annihilation of Earth. When the massive forces unleashed by Earth's death warp space and time to hurl her 40 years into the past, Genji is given a chance to try and change the future and save Earth, starting with the alien first contact only she knows will soon occur. And then it'll take place in 2140 as well. Our last sci-fi, the publishers are describing as Game of Thrones meets Pacific Rim in this genre-bending masterpiece with heart-pounding romance. And the description does give me strong vibes of Gundam. So that could be the Pacific Rim aspect. But yes, I very much feel Gundam vibes from this. It's called Heavenbreaker by Sarah Wolf. Bravery isn't what you do, it's what you endure. The Duke of the powerful House Hauteclair is the first to die, with my dagger in his back. Even if it means riding Heavenbreaker, one of the few enormous machines left over from the war, and jousting against the fiercest nobles in the system. Each win means another one of my enemies dies, and here in the cold terror of space, the machine and I move as one, intent on destroying each adversary, even if it's someone I care about, even if it's someone I'm falling for. Only I'm not alone, not anymore, because there's something in the machine with me, something horrifying, something more, and it won't be stopped. Moving right along into another genre bending. This one could be maybe sci-fi, speculative fiction, and maybe a hint of mystery. That's The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Turton. Solve the murder to save what's left of the world. Outside the island there is nothing. The world was destroyed by a fog that swept the planet, killing anyone it touched. On the island, it is idyllic. Idyllic? 122 villagers and 3 scientists living in peaceful harmony. The villagers are content to fish, farm, and feast, to obey their nightly curfew, to do what they're told by the scientists. Until, to the horror of the islanders, one of their beloved scientists is found brutally stabbed to death. And then they learn that the murderer has triggered the lowering of the security system around the island, the only thing that was keeping the fog at bay. Our next fiction up is Lies and Weddings by Kevin Kwan. Rufus Ling Gresham, future Earl of Greshambury and a son of former Hong Kong supermodel, has a problem. The legendary Gresham Trust has been depleted by decades of prolific spending, and behind all the magazine covers and Instagram stories, manors, and yachts lies nothing more than a gargantuan mountain of debt. The only solution put forth by Rufus's scheming mother is for Rufus to attend his sister's wedding at the luxury eco-resort, a veritable who's who of sultans, barons, and oligarchs, and seduce a woman with money. When a volcanic eruption burns through the nuptials and a hot mic exposes a secret tryst, the Gresham family's plans and their reputation go up in flames. Our next one is, the whole description sounds like a giant content warning, but it is based on authentic historical documents and around a real person. I don't think the name's even been changed. It's called Butcher by Joyce Carol Oates. And in this, we're following the career of Dr. Silas Weir, father of gyno-psychiatry, as he ascends from professional anonymity to national renown. Humiliated by a procedure gone terribly wrong, Weir is forced to take a position at the New Jersey Asylum for Female Lunatics, where he reigns. There, he is allowed to continue his practice unchecked for decades, making a name for himself by focusing on women who have been neglected by the state, women he subjects to the most grotesque modes of experimentation. As he begins to establish himself as a pioneer of the 19th century surgery, Weir's ambition is fueled by his obsessive fascination with a young Irish indentured servant named Bridget, who becomes not only Weir's primary experimental subject, but also the agent of his destruction. We move then into thriller, with One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. Lila is in a bit of a rut. Her postdoctoral research has fizzled out. She's pretty sure they won't extend her contract, and things with her boyfriend Nico, an aspiring actor, aren't going great. When the opportunity arises for Nico to join the cast of a new reality TV show, One Perfect Couple, she decides to try out with him. A whirlwind audition process later, Lila finds herself whisked off to a tropical paradise with Nico, boating through the Indian Ocean towards Ever After Island, where the two of them will compete against 4 other couples, Bayer and Angel, Dan and Santana, Joel and Rami, and Connor and Xana, in order to win a cash prize. But not long after they arrive on the deserted island, things start to go wrong. Next up is Long Time Gone by Charlie Donnelly. On the first day of an elite 2-year fellowship under the renowned Chief Medical Officer Dr. Olivia Cuddy, Sloane Hastings receives a research assignment in the emerging field of forensic genealogy. It's the exciting, rapidly evolving science behind the recent breaks in high-profile cold cases, from the Golden State Killer to Cameron Young murder. And Sloane enthusiastically begins her research by submitting her own DNA to an online genealogy site. Her goal is to better understand the treasure trove of genetic information contained on the Ancestry websites, but the results she receives are shocking. Raised by loving, supportive parents, Sloane has always known she was adopted, but her DNA profile suggests her true identity is that of Charlotte Margolis, aka Baby Charlotte, who captured the nation's attention when she and her affluent parents mysteriously vanished in July 1995. For some lighter titles, we shall move into romance. The first one up is Savor It by Tara DeWitt. Summer won't last forever. Sage Bird has lived in the coastal town of Spoones, Oregon, not to be confused with Forks, Washington, her entire life. She's learned to love her small world with the misfit animals on her hobby farm and her friendship with the town's inhabitants. But when her 5-year relationship ends and her ex, town golden boy Ian, suddenly gets engaged, Sage needs a win, something that will convince everyone to stop pitying her all the time and put Ian in his place. Fisher Lange was a hotshot chef in New York City until the loss of his sister left him numb, grieving and responsible for his teenage niece Indy. When Fisher loses his Michelin star along with his love of cooking, his boss sends him and Indy to Spoones on a much-needed summer sabbatical to consult on a restaurant opening. So many names were mispronounced in that one. Then we have Wish You Weren't Here by Christy Schilling. Ava Graham's ducks are in a row as she heads off to Italy, complete her final law school credits, and fulfill a promise she made to her late mother 5 years ago. Ava expects her long-term boyfriend to propose before her trip, but instead of giving her a ring, he suggests they use her time abroad as a break before settling down. When James Massini arrives late to pick up Ava as a favor to his aunt and uncle, he's surprised to find that she's not a young co-ed, but a fascinating woman approaching 30 with a serious superiority complex and a habit of underestimating him. When she's assigned to his class as a TA, he becomes determined to prove to her that there is more to life than plans and lists, no matter how hard she fights with him or how annoyingly charming he finds their banter. We shall end the week with some YA books. Wild About You by Caitlin Hill. Natalie Hart has always been loud, unfiltered, and unapologetically herself, but then comes her freshman year of college when she loses her merit scholarship and gains one pesky little anxiety diagnosis. Hesitant to take out more student loans, Natalie decides to shoot her shot and applies to Wild Adventures, a popular outdoorsy reality show. Sure, Natalie prefers her 12-step skincare routine to roughing it on the Appalachian Trail while competing in challenges against other college kids. But that scholarship prize money is calling her name. High risk, high reward, right? And last up for the week is I Wish You Would by Eva Des Lauriers. It's Senior Sunrise, the epic overnight at the beach that kicks off senior year. But for Natalia and Ethan, it's the first time seeing each other after what happened at junior prom, when they almost crossed the line from best friends to something more and ruined everything. After ghosting each other all summer, Natalia is desperate to pretend she doesn't care, and Ethan is desperate to fix his mistake. When the senior class carries out their tradition of writing private letters to themselves, what they wish they would do this year if they were braver, water. Natalia pours her heart out. So does Ethan. So does everyone in their entire class. But in Natalia's panicked attempt to retrieve her heartfelt confession, the wind scatters 7 of the notes across the beach. Now Ethan and Natalia are forced to work together to find the lost letters before the secrets are revealed, especially their own. That's all for this week's list. Maybe you found something new to pick up, but if there's one coming out that I didn't mention and you know about, please list it down below so we can all find out about it. If you enjoyed this one and you haven't yet, I'd really appreciate if you subscribed. You can always check out some of my other videos and see if you like my style, and then subscribe. I hope you're finding something awesome to read today, and I'll see you in the next one.